morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning, LinkedIn. Good
Morning.
morning, YouTube. Good morning, Mandisa. How are you doing?
Morning. Oh, I'm doing really good. And obviously this is my first live on LinkedIn, so it's a christening, isn't
Ah.
it?
First
Yeah.
LinkedIn Live, first LinkedIn Live.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that the tech holds up today because Mandisa, you're testing me with this technology with your videos and all of that.
Okay.
So we're going
Okay.
to see how it is. Good morning if you're watching us live, if you're joining us live. I know we've got a few people that have been keenly waiting for this one. So if you're joining us live, please do say good morning in the chat. How has your week been? We were just talking about this
Yeah.
before we went live in terms of the week. It's busy at the moment, Mandisa, right?
Definitely. You think that things will be calmer because obviously we've entered into the holiday period where a lot of people
Yeah,
then will be kind of taking holidays and obviously children
yeah,
will be finishing school for summer. But for me, it's just been really, really busy. But I think I
yeah.
thrive off being busy at the same time, so I like it. I don't like being too bored, but yeah, it's been a bit extra busy and hectic. So I'm very much looking forward to the weekend. The weekend is my salvage and refuge. So and it always
Yeah.
for those who know, I love hiking, so that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, you're hiking this weekend.
Yeah, going Peak District this week
Oh,
to do a little
nice.
walk with a friend there. So yeah, so I think it is like my fourth week in a row. I was in Scotland, then I went to Lake District, then I was in Peak District last week, and I love
Wow.
going back peaks again on tomorrow.
Amazing, amazing. And walking is great for I have like a daily walk. Walking is great for like processing, processing your week, thinking through problems, de-stressing, decompressing. Good morning, Junior Beeman. Junior,
Morning.
I don't know if you've met Junior yet, Mandisa. You will do. I guarantee you will meet Junior. Junior calls me Oprah, and I'm going to take that. I will
Oh yeah,
take
that's a
that.
compliment.
Let's jump into a joyful
Okay.
July, says Junior. And Junior, so this is from one multicultural ERG leader to another. So Junior has just stepped into the role of global multicultural network lead for NatWest.
Well
Um,
done.
yeah, absolutely. And that's coming hot off the back of leading the Rainbow Network as well in NatWest. And so for anybody that doesn't know, Mandisa Gordon, which I'm not sure who that could be, but
Cosplaying.
Mandisa, I'm going to read your introduction out. I've started doing something recently where I get ChatGPT to read your intro.
Okay.
Right? And to write your intro, right? So
Okay.
ChatGPT writes the bios. Andrea, good morning. We got another ERG lead there. In fact, you
Morning,
might have met
Andrea.
Andrea from the
Yeah, I
summit
have.
last year.
Oh, thanks for
Andrea
joining.
is, yeah, Andrea, I want to say, I can't remember, Andrea, whether your network is called Pride or something else at RICS, but Andrea is one of the chairs at RICS for the Pride network. So so ChatGPT says, meet Mandisa Gordon, a bold and visionary change leader who spent the past 2 years co-chairing REACH, JLR's largest employee network, or at least one of the largest, with nearly 4,000 members, which is huge as far as networks go. Recognized as both an inspiring automotive woman and inspirational leader, Mandisa is known for pushing boundaries and delivering impact. And I totally agree with that. Whether that's launching global sponsorship and mentoring programs, advising board level leaders on inclusion strategy, or leading business wide transformation in her current role within JLR's CFO office. In this conversation, we will be diving into one of the most inspiring initiatives she led at REACH, a powerful collaboration with the Washing Machine Project, where ERG members, engineers, and senior leaders came together to build and deliver manual eco washing machines to families in Diepsloot, South Africa. Mandisa brings a unique lens on how ERGs can move beyond awareness days and create real, measurable change that engages members, earns executive support, and aligns with business goals. How did ChatGPT do out of 10, Mandisa?
I think I'll give it a good 8.5. It's better than Wikipedia, but I'm not on Wikipedia anyway. But it's a good 8.5. A couple of things things need updating on there. But no, that's good. That's good. I'll take that.
Amazing, amazing. So Mandisa Gordon, and we've got a couple of other good mornings. Let me jump on these really quickly. Good morning, handsome Pednagari. How are you doing? Hope you've had a good week. And good morning to Dilwyn. We've got another ERG lead, Dilwyn. I hope I don't get this wrong, but Dilwyn also co-chairs at RICS. I can't remember whether I don't think it's called Reach or Embrace. I think maybe it's called the Multicultural Network at RICS. So good morning. So lots of ERG leads jumping onto this, because we want to all hear about the collaborations, right? And, you know, what is it? You know, I call this the power of collaboration. And it's something I've been banging on about for a little while. I know we've had many conversations about how collaborations can really kind of like help to change the dial when it comes to ERGs in terms of getting senior leader involvement and all of that sort of thing. So let's maybe start at the beginning, right, with the story behind this collaboration. And I don't know where you want to start. I know we've got a little video to play and we can play that whenever you want us to play that. But let's start with, you know, how the collaboration came about. So maybe just explain a little bit about what it is and who the washing machine projects are, and, you know, what inspired you and the ERG to get involved.
Yeah, so I was introduced to a wonderful guy called Navjit, who established something or created something called the Washing Machine Project. So he was a former engineer at JLR, and he went off on his own to do this wonderful endeavor of building these sustainable washing machines to communities who have limited access to running water. And so he wanted to give them the dignity of having clean clothes, but obviously understood the limitations of having access to water and obviously electricity. So when I was introduced to Navdip, we went away and had, you know, other conversations to think, well, what can we do? Because I think the person who introduced us, and I won't mention their name, kind of thought, well, these two people need to get together. So it was definitely an intro to say, what could they do together? And so we sat together and thought, well, I said, look, I'm chair of the Reach network in JLR. It's the largest employee-led network at JLR. And I don't say that to kind of be boastful, but it's been a lot of work over 2.5 years to get a network which focuses on race and ethnicity to get that big within and it's not about it's been big just because people are joining, it's because of the impact it's had across the organization. But I said to him, well, let's utilize the people that we have on the network and let's do something special together. So I came up with the idea of the Clean Clothes campaign, something special that was unique for JLR and JLR people. And I spoke to a couple of colleagues who support the Reach network, and we had a colleague in South Africa called Kim, and she happened to be very connected close to Diepsloot. I think I'm probably even saying that wrong. This community in Johannesburg was very passionate. I think her mom came from that community, and she sold me this story. And I was like, okay, we've got the JLR connection, but we've also got that real people strong angle. And I thought, we're going to go South Africa. And so I thought, well, let's see. We're gonna let's start small, because it's not about doing something big. People think
let's start small,
raise thousands of pounds and millions. No, it is. It's the small things. I focused on the people impact aspect rather than raising loads of money. I thought, let's go for so me and Navjit sat down. I said, look, we could do 10 machines. Let's get people from JLR fundraising for 10 machines, building them and shipping them. So the Clean Clothes campaign work with so many different organizations doing this. And I thought, let's do this. Let's be the first to bring it to JLR. And there was always an ambition by doing this, the hope that JLR as an organization would take on doing something more with the Clean Clothes with the washing machine project, which they did, but we'll talk about that, the byproduct of what we did, our collaboration. So I says, okay, let's do this. So I got together a team of people, some in South Africa, some in the UK. And so I was thinking, right, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to need people from manufacturing. I need people in the office space. So I had 2 business managers on the Reach network who helped. I got people who worked in kind of shipping, so who dealt with our shipping our vehicles and parts and stuff like that, because I think I thought, well, let's do everything in-house. Let's not go external when we're shipping the machines and stuff like that. So I had people there. And obviously, though, was other people who weren't part of the core team who dealt with kind of customs, because these are things that I don't think about. Like when we're shipping that across, you know, people are like, what is this? It's not easily recognizable and things like that. So
Yeah.
I got a lot of people together, but a key element was also engineering. There was a guy on the team who was interested in this project and wanted to assemble an engineering team within JLR to support beyond the project. So there was a lot of things at stake. But what I wanted to make sure that it was something that encompassed and invited everybody from the company, irrespective of background, just nothing mattered. We just wanted to get people from different parts of the company, especially our manufacturing community, because that's where most of our people are, right? The people who are building our wonderful products every day, who sometimes don't get away to time to step away. So that was it, really. We said, let's do it. And that's how it started, with an idea, me mapping it out, me putting a team of people together, a wonderful, and it's very diverse, a mixture of people, mixture of skills, but all bought into it because they thought, this is something fantastic. I want to be part of it. And that's how it started.
It's amazing. I mean, it's really interesting. You said something about, you know, let's start small. The thing is, for anybody that doesn't know Mandisa, right? When Mandisa says Mandisa's version of small is still quite an ambitious you know, kind of like dream, right? But it's great. But then you break it down almost like into the small steps, because, you know, you're right. You could have been like, okay, we're going to do like 100 of this and, you know, whatever. But you were like, okay, let's just do 10, you know, because 10 actually feels like a manageable number. And the one thing I would say about you as well, Mandisa, I don't know whether you realize this, but there's something about in terms of how you sell a vision, right? I think you've got a real gift in like selling a vision to kind of get people on board, because all of that stuff that you just talked through, what was probably a good few months of going out, having meetings, getting that person, you know, involved, getting that person involved, etc. So we're going to kind of like really dive into that in terms of the how. For anybody that doesn't know the washing machine project, so the washing machine projects are on LinkedIn. Like if you look up, you know, the washing machine project, you'll find it. Do you want to just explain really quickly what the washing machines are? I know we sort of call them like they're called like eco or manual. Do you want to just explain what they are?
They're called the Divya. So Navjit named it after a woman in, I think, a village where where his parents were from, and I think he saw her kind of hand washing clothes. He says, you know what? And he's an engineer, and obviously thinking with his engineering brain and his creativity, he's like, you know what? I'm going to build you a machine or something so you don't have to do all this hard work. And if you go onto their LinkedIn, you'll see the proper story, etc. And so he named the machine after her. And so it's a machine that you use your hand. The hand is what you use to spin the machine, and it just needs a little bit of water in it. It's an interesting object because obviously maybe some people looking at it first will think, well, what is it? But then when they open it and see kind of how kind of smart and really eco-friendly this machine is, it really is wonderful, and it is a credit to Nabda and what he's built with the team. So it is wonderful, and he's got a great team around him, and they go across the world globally doing this stuff. It is really fun. It's just really amazing. So that's how I got started. But yeah, it was that I was sold by the story. It's always a story, remember? A story is what gets you there.
It's incredibly inspiring. Anybody that, you know, and obviously there are lots of organizations out there doing some really good work. But you know, if you want to be inspired today, go and have a look at what the washing machine project are doing and why. And as you explained, Mandy, so I think I've seen a video where, you know, they're basically showing how, for example, like in South Asia and India, where people are like, the women, say in particular, women and girls are literally spending hours washing clothes like in the rivers, right? So it's almost like, how could we, you know, I guess for the washing machine project, how could they stop that? You talked there about well, do you want to play the video? Should we play the video now?
Yeah, you can play. You can play the video. Yeah.
So this is the first, right? So this is the first for me. We've never had like a bit. So I'm like, fingers crossed that the technology.
It's not break LinkedIn, in it. Break your LinkedIn.
Exactly. Yeah. So we're gonna play a really short video now. It's like just over 90 seconds of basically you know, of the machines being delivered. So let's just see if we can do this now. How do I do this? I need to add this to the stage. Okay, let's just see.
A special day. We're here to deliver 10 manual washing machines to a community in Diepsloot in Johannesburg who have limited access to running water and electricity. Alongside that, we're also delivering 100 food parcels to families in need.
Our team at Jaguar Land Rover South Africa has been wildly inspired by this. So we've supported the packaging of all the food parcels that we're delivering today.
Some of them, they are without food at their places. One old lady came to me. She was even crying to say, "Councillor, now I have food. Thank you very much." It means a lot to them.
It actually is quite emotional for me to watch, to see that all of the effort that we have gone in to fundraise and to build and to ship those washing machines all the way over here, it has been so worthwhile. Everyone in the community was represented, from young children to teenagers, to young adults, to elderly people.
If I think about my work, this is the part that I find the most exciting, like actually engaging with the people that use our washing machines. I hope people watching this are inspired, but more importantly, they are prompted to act. You know, come off your sofa, come off LinkedIn, come off socials watching this. What are you going to do to be part of the change? And we can all play a part, right? However little, because from little things, big things happen.
I don't know whether we quite got it from the beginning there. Was that? I think we almost got most of it, right?
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, you got most of it.
Amazing. So that, I guess what we caught there was almost like the impact. I think the bit that we maybe missed at the start, that's probably because I was testing it beforehand, was you kind of explaining that you were, going to deliver those machines. So some of the bits that you talked about, when you were talking about how you kind of like got all of the different elements of the company involved, and this is one of the things that I think is incredibly powerful with a collaboration like that. Where did you start with in terms of like the senior support? How did you almost get, like, I want to say in quote unquote, the permission almost, like, right, to actually do this? Do you know what I mean? How did that even start? Did you start there? Did you start at the top?
I'm not encouraging people to follow my example, but then I don't ever ask for permission. Maybe forgiveness after. I've never asked for permission for anything. No one says, well, I don't see leading an ERG and leading something which is going to be impactful and benefit to the company, think I need to ask somebody if I can do this first, and then go, I use my initiative and I just did it. And then basically when saying, well, I need to kind of think about the resources and what we're going to spend and what we're going to do and how we're going to fundraise, any money that I spent, I kind of was very fiscally responsible because I work in finance, and kind of pulled on a lot of favors from people and senior leaders. And so one of our exec sponsors is the director of business protection in JLR. So that's quite handy, right? So all his team deal with the shipping and the exporting. And also one of his team, his senior managers, came along with us. So she is dealing with all the security and stuff like that. So that was great. So we get help along the way. Some things we have to spend a bit of money, some things we don't. But so I utilize the exec sponsors first, and then any leverage I have with any senior leaders. But really, the bulk of it, 99% of it, is just done by me connecting with regular people in JLR and them saying, yes, I'll do it. So for instance, Kim, who was essential to this, and then two other South African women, Swazi and Tumbele, because Kim left JLR after a while, she said, I want to do it in Diepsloot. My mom's from there. I'm really passionate about this community giving back. But she says when JLR South Africa normally go to these communities, they also do food parcels. So I said, okay, we'll add that into the agenda then. So we're no longer just kind of delivering these 10 machines to that specific community. We're also delivering 100 food parcels, which I kind of got them to do. So in the UK, they built the machines and they did the fundraising. And in South Africa, they packed the food parcels. So every area of the business, part or core, did something. And then obviously in South Africa, they're going to be doing the delivery of the machine. And altogether, it took 141 people to deliver this project. Wow. 141 hands have been across this to make this happen and to make this a success, which is really, really, really great. So pretty much, and things that obviously that there's loads of videos for this. So to really talk about this, I probably need an hour lecture, but I don't want to bore people because we just want to get to this. But part of this was I connected it with another initiative I had called Reach Women, which was getting women from all backgrounds together in the business. I'm very passionate about that because I feel that we always talk about, you know, uplifting women within organizations, especially in the automotive industry where they're underrepresented. But I always wondered, well, do women lift women? Do women really work together and collaborate? And do they wish each other well? And I wanted to bring women together of all ethnic backgrounds, irrespective of what grade they are. And I said to them, look, we're going away. I did it twice to raise money. So we did a fundraising hike, and also we gave back to women's refuge in Fort William in the Scottish Highlands. But I said, look, you leave your rank at JLR. When we step into our wonderful products and drive 8 hours into the Highlands, however long it took, we all work together. What grade you are, the place you have in the business, the influence you have, doesn't matter. We are women together. And that was really great. I mixed them up so no one knew each other and they worked together. And it was wonderful because the relationships they have post this is amazing. I see them going out on hikes together, people being sponsored by different people that they went together. We, you know, they shared a space because like we stayed overnight and stuff. So that was one element. The other element was then kind of having build days. So I had a first initial build day, which was connected to a Reach event, our Reach the People event, where we talk about what we're delivering for the new financial year and we give awards out to people. And then I think we created like 2 days, two additional days of building machines, and we made sure that we mixed people from engineering backgrounds, people who worked in manufacturing building our vehicles, and then people across all the office spaces. And so I had a team of people managing that. I had a team of people in manufacturing and a team of people who worked in the office spaces managing it. So wherever I go, I think if I did an org chart of myself and how I've managed to deliver stuff on, you'll see loads and loads of different teams of people who have worked with me to deliver this stuff. So
yeah. And you know, there's so many lessons in what you said, and I really hope people are taking notes on this, because a lot of the lessons are in the story that you're telling. You know, the thing about you mentioned, well, a couple of things. First of all, the fact that this is the largest network, right? And when I read it in the intro, when I read what ChatGPT wrote, and he said it's the largest network, and I sort of corrected ChatGPT, and I said it's one of the largest, because I tell you, I'm used to the women's networks being the largest network, right? So something you said there in terms of, and I've seen the videos, the video that you did of the women on tour, right? The women going away, and the impact, the powerful impact that had for the women in your network. I think that's incredible that, you know, that you've managed to create that, and an environment where it feels like women are supporting other women within, within the Reach network.
And just to say, women who came on that journey are probably women are part of Women in Engineering, part of the Gen network as well. So we're open to everybody.
Exactly, yeah. And so, you know, and then you talked about the 141 people, I think it was, that you said were involved in this. And this is both members of the ERG, but much wider as well, right?
Absolutely.
So I know there's a great video that you've got, and maybe we'll drop the link in after here of those other videos so people can watch them. But there's a great link that you've got where you've got people from all of the different departments saying, you know, I'm an engineer, I worked on the project, it was really like a whole company thing coming together, right?
100% it was. And I wanted a range of people. I'm very, very, I like equity, and I like to see representation. And And that's really important to me. I like to make sure that everyone gets an opportunity to do something. And I just think that's what I bring different to leadership, because I think that a lot of leadership are not really aware of it or don't understand the importance of it and what that and the benefits that it brings to an organization. So I wanted everyone to feel included and part of the journey. So it was such a wonderful experience bringing all those people together. And obviously, all those people probably have relationships beyond the project because of this experience and this collaboration, which is essential. But going back to Reach being the largest employee network, when I was chair, I became chair in November 2022. I think we had like something like 1,000 members or something like that. Within the first year of me being chair, we became the largest employee-led network. And then it just grew ridiculously. But when I became chair, there was a couple of things that I stipulated, which I know that my committee, who are wonderful, I love my committee, said to me, and I have many iterations of committees, because people come and go, right? No one stays. You've got to have a revolving door, as with everything, and even with the chair role. But I said, all right, I said, like, look, I'm going to be chair. In the first year, we need to be the largest employee-led network in JLR, not because to boast and brag, but because the issue of race is so important and gets overlooked. And it's very much the elephant in the room that people, on this DEI journey, it's the one subject that I think people just can't get around. I know neurodiversity and stuff like that, but it's one of those topics that people find very difficult to digest. I said, that's why I need to make an impact. And also the budget that we have, and we're changing that. I just said a couple of things, and people were like, they laugh like, Bernice, how are you going to do that? And then when I turned around, I'm like, oh, and it inspired them and it encouraged them to say, well, why can't I do this? That's the example that I'm showing. No one said no to you. Who told you couldn't do this? So just go out and do it. And so we did.
I think people can see now why Mandisa has achieved what she's achieved. So Andrea Southall has said, Andrea said she's still fangirling after your talk last year at the ERG Leader Summit.
Oh,
it's inspired work in my organization amongst the networks, and that is really good to hear, Andrea, for sure. And good morning to Nicola as well. Nicola is another, I'm going to say, I think Nicola's network is called Embrace at E.ON. Good morning, both. Truly inspirational conversation. I want to pull out just a few of the lessons, again, that you talked about there, Mandisa. You talked about the conversations that you would have with these different departments. There is definitely something about when you're an ERG leader, having a strong network and being able to build relationships, right? So that you can get things done, so that you can go to that person and ask them to get involved, etc. How do you do that? And where do you find time to do that? Just almost like practically, how do you build and maintain such a wide sort of range of networks in an organization?
I think you have to have, I think to do this, I think you genuinely got to care and generally have to have the energy for it. Like, I know sometimes people think, that this work is just easy, it's just for a photo call. 99% of the work is done beyond the pitch or any event that you see. It's really hard work. And that's why I have so much love for anybody who does this additional work on top of their day job. Definitely to be commended for it, because I know how tough it is, and it does leak into your personal life. I don't know about some people, but it does sometimes leak into your personal life, and it is very all-consuming, especially when you're really passionate and you want to make an impact. But for me, having conversations with people all the way up to board level, people at every level in the business has never been an issue for me. It's an area that I thrive off, because I feel like, what's the worst they can do? It can't kill me. So I'm going to ask. The worst thing that anyone can say is no. and I've had a lot of that in my life already. So it's like, I'm used to that. Wow. So I'm happy to speak to anyone. And I always think, well, who's the best person to represent me? Or what I'm doing me. So what I try to do in all situations, I try to represent myself and my voice, as opposed to relying on others and third parties, because you don't know what's saying. And obviously I felt empowered, but I think I felt empowered irrespective of whether I was chair or not. When I was on the Reach Network, I started delivering change. And so you don't have to have a chair role. So I want to tell people that the title is irrelevant. It's about you as an individual. People will come if you're doing things which are relevant and you have a story. And also you're confident within yourself. Build that confidence to kind of go and speak to anyone in your organization. And I just have these conversations. Sometimes I'll just chat people on Teams and say, look, this is what I'm doing. This is who I am. Do you want to support? Oh, yes. And 99.9% of the time, it's a yes. In fact, have I had any no's? Only if I'm asking for extra stuff. It's always a yes. They only say no if like sometimes they're like the sponsors somebody from a cosmetics. Oh, I think I'm over. I think I've exerted myself here. I don't think I can do anymore. I'm like, okay, no worries. But like most times, if you sell a good story to people, and in every organization there are good leaders, they're good people, not just leaders, they're good people.
Absolutely.
And if you show something how it's going to benefit others but also benefit them, they will come on board 100%.
Yeah, I want to pick up on Nat's point here. Good morning, Nat. Thank you for joining us. Nat says, I need your pep. I think everybody needs Mandisa's pep, Nat. Nat says, I've not long taken over as the lead from military network at AMS, and engagement and community member numbers are my biggest goals right now. And it's really common, particularly engagement is the real issue. So the fact that you grew it from like 1,000 to 4,000, I mean, that is actually, we need like another LinkedIn Live to talk about your engagement strategy. However, the thing about, and the one of the reasons that I wanted to really delve into this in terms of collaboration, and I'm going to be doing more of this. There's some people on this who know that I'm going to be doing more of this, getting into collaboration.
We're all going to contribute. We've all got to contribute to this ecosystem of ERGs.
Absolutely. And there's something about, and you've said it, for me, collaborations and the perfect collaboration, I sort of talk about 3 elements, and I posted about this recently, but you've got kind of like the ERG, the ERG and its members, you've got colleagues who aren't in the ERG, and then you've got like the business or the senior leaders. When you can find a collaboration or a project or an initiative or a campaign that meets all of the 3 needs, that's the sweet spot. And for me, this collaboration, when I kind of looked at it in terms of the benefit to the ERG and the members, particularly with the women on tour and the fundraising thing that you did, and the massive impact that had on the lives of those women that got involved, but then the benefit to the wider colleagues, particularly whenever anybody does anything that's around like community or changing lives or the planet, or it's for good, basically, that tends to engage beyond just the ERG. Other people in the organization want to get involved. And then the other thing that I think is absolutely genius about this collaboration is the sustainability agenda for your organization, right? So just maybe talk about that in terms of, and as you said, when you were telling the story about going up to Scotland, you said about getting into the amazing, JLR built machines or whatever.
So I always think product placement, promotion, everything, because look, you are representing your organization. So I always say this, you want to show your organization in the best light. There is no better promotion, for any organization when people talk about it on LinkedIn. The organization can send out messaging, but when people want to talk about I had a great day or this is amazing, and honestly feel that is the best promotion, because if I see things like I'm thinking, I kind of would like to work there. What's going on there? I'd like to know. So one of the great things in working with JLR was like thinking, well, if we're traveling all those hours, we're going to get women together. So we're not going to have one person per car. We're going to be, we're going to be a bit more sustainable, even though we are. But we had a series of vehicles, and we made sure that we filled the vehicles. So we had a series of like a Range Rover, Velars, Defenders, Evokes. We just had our products, and it was good because it'll be good for the promotion and the imagery. And we gave women an opportunity who don't normally drive those products as well to have a go at driving those products if they don't have a management car, etc. So that was really great about it. And obviously these cars are fabulous, isn't it? Imagine driving all the hours to the Highlands in luxury product is it's a privilege. It's a privilege to do that, and it's great. And I think that's what makes people feel great as well. So I loved it.
And also the sustainability agenda. So the fact that the washing machine project, obviously, it's got like multiple objectives. So one is around kind of like reducing that burden and that workload on the women that are washing the clothes. And the way that you linked that into then like the women on tour, and then like for the women's refuge and all of that sort of thing. But then obviously the sustainability agenda, which for as you as an organization, sustainability is a really sort of like core value, right? So the link through is genius. Honestly, it's absolutely genius.
People impact and people engagement, obviously, because every organization monitors how people feel about the organization. So that's really important. Do people feel, and that's why it was important for me to make sure that we were fair about it, that we got our manufacturing people involved. The collaboration, you're rightly saying that it wasn't just with the washing machine project, it was with the Women's Refuge in Fort William. We made sure that we're giving back to local communities. So we're not just traipsing to Scotland and saying we're fundraising for South Africa, but hello, there's women suffering there too.
Yeah.
So we made, and they were so happy because so many people from JLR gave so many domestic goods to help those women in the Women's Refuge. It was phenomenal. So we did that twice. So we gave back locally to that community. And then obviously we gave back to women and their families within South Africa, in Johannesburg, South Africa. So that was really great. And from this and looking at sustainability, and obviously JLR has an ever-growing sustainability agenda, is a byproduct of us delivering this was that I was in talks with, you know, with board members about, okay, what can we do next? When they're seeing all that we're delivering, they're thinking, well, can JLR take this on board and do something bigger and better? Because that was always Nav and mine's vision, that I said, let's do this pilot. We will get attention, we'll garnish the attention, we'll get the people impact, and then let's do something bigger, which obviously he came from JLR originally, so he's really excited about doing something in a company that he still loves, very much loves. And so our CEO really loved the project, really loved the delivery, and it was great that from a sustainability level that our sustainability team took this on board. So now they're working with the washing machine project, delivering things, and they've done another bill. But it feels good for me as an ERG leader, and he's also as a change person, as somebody who's come up with innovative ideas, to think of something that I thought of on a little PowerPoint deck and thought, right, this is an idea and these are the people going to get involved, that it expanded so big and even bigger now. So that's great. So I always say to people, don't worry about doing smaller things, because I'm attached to the bigger thing and the bigger things that happen to come of it. And so I feel very proud of that. So never always try and trace something like, because all people think, oh, I need to raise millions of pounds. No, if you raise £2, I'm grateful for that. It's just like, how did I do it? Did 10 people come with me to do the challenge? And that's what matters to me very much, the people engagement. If people are there, because when we went to Diepsloot, I think in South Africa, having the ability to go there and take somebody from my ERG with me as well, when we're doing this, and everybody who's been part of this journey, we thought that we were doing this to help other people in other countries and help them, but we helped ourselves. Do you know the impact it has, how good you feel initially from doing this, but you learn things about yourself in terms of what really matters in life and the kind of person that you want to be, the kind of leader that you want to be, or things that are now more important to you. So there are lessons for everybody in this. So it's a 360 helping project. It's not just for those communities.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's amazing. There's one angle that I want to get into. Good morning, Hardev. Another good morning dropping in. Hardev looks after a men's network at Mia's. Another Brummie, actually. Another Brummie.
And we the last ERG summit. I met him. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And good morning, Denise. Good morning, Denise Myers. Inspirational ERGs have the power to lead, for sure. Well, for sure. And anybody that's not inspired by this, honestly. But the one thing I'm going to talk about, and I mentioned this to you before we started, Mandisa, because and there's something around your pre-JLR background. I feel that you've brought to the what you do as your ERG, which I didn't realize until we spoke maybe a couple of months ago. And for anybody that's watching this, I've been trying to get Mandisa on this LinkedIn Live for the best part of a year.
I know. I was like, I am believing people. This is me pushing my comfort zone, right? Thinking, well, why does anybody want to hear about it from me? And just let me stay in the profile, let me stay in the back.
And yet the thing is, because I don't think a lot of people know this, but you have a background in, I want to say, journalism. Is that right?
Yeah.
Journalism.
So when I left, I studied media and culture studies as my first degree. I did a postgraduate diploma in international broadcast journalism, because that's what I wanted to do. And my dad asked me, what you want to do? And I said, I want to do journalism, Dad. I want to tell stories. And there was a film that I loved called Burning an Illusion, which was a Black British film about the Black experience in the 80s, which was wonderful. And it was made by a film director called Menelik Shabazz, and I said I want to do that one day. But I also love the news, and so I did a postgraduate diploma in international broadcast journalism, and I got an internship at the BBC, and the rest was history. Pretty much, when you get a placement there, you kind of extend it, then you get a permanent position. And then when I was at the BBC, I got to do lots of fun and wonderful things as a journalist, but also as a producer. So producing radio programs, producing for different presenters, and also doing online, and then even doing project management. I think one time my station editor saw me and goes, you know what, you're the right person. We've got this project coming up. And there was a project around the bicentenary of the abolition of the slave trade. And it was like, oh, and he goes, you get to, I suppose, create a narrative and a story across all our radio stations, engage with all these senior leaders and give them content and ideas. And so there's loads of things that I've done. And pretty much like JLR, the BBC is an organisation where if you utilise it correctly, there are opportunities to manoeuvre around it. But so I am a journalist at heart. I am a nosy person, and I do like to tell stories.
That's the thing. You are a storyteller, and the thing, the fact that you've even got a video that can be shared. Honestly, any ERG leads that are watching this, start recording what you're doing. Start getting even if it's just get your phone out, just start recording what's happening. Storytelling, being able to share what it is that the network is doing is just so important. I don't know how do you get most of your footage? Do you get support internally from like the marketing team?
So when I first started initially, I used my phone, and I told leaders, send me something on WhatsApp and let me just put it together, and I edited it on my phone and stuff like that, especially when I started the reverse mentoring program. And I thought, this is great endorsement, right? I'm going to put it out, because I used to run monthly sessions called Mastermind Series where I got people together and we talked about how to develop in your career, and I got leaders together. And I just think the biggest things that my advice to people in an ERG, the best things don't cost money. Stop thinking about money. The money will come, but try and prove yourself. I have delivered, so the biggest things I've delivered in the reach have cost nothing. The mentoring programs, the sponsorship, the reverse mentoring program, the biggest impact, 310 people globally across JLR, including all our board members, are participating or have participated. That cost nothing. It was an idea in my head, wrote it down, tested it, did a pilot. The CEO who I reverse mentored, then expanded it, and now it's gone global. And then now for me, I won't tell you what my ambitions are beyond that, but like, you got to kind of make this happen first. But so I always say to people, when they see like me doing kind of spangly, sparkling things, I started with zero money, and the biggest things I've ever done have cost nothing. The money and fighting for budget, which is what I'm good at, came after. And so I was able to kind of get support. But what was important to me was, I'm very passionate about kind of getting diverse suppliers, using diverse talent within JLR, and also diverse talent outside. So whenever I had a supplier, I made sure that we're getting from a diverse pool of people, pool of skills. I tried to look at local people as well and gave them an opportunity. So some of the works that we've done within JLR, I've got consultants in, I've got photographers in, I've got filmmakers in, I've got DJs in, I've got speakers in. I've got so many people in JLR, and I've got them paid as well. That's a fundamental principle of mine and a value. I never say to somebody, I love your skills, all that you've put together all the years. Now I want you to come and do something for free. And I know it's hard, because in organizations, they don't have the money to spend. So look at how then, if there isn't the resource, what can you exchange? If you want someone to do something for you, what can you exchange and do that? But I worked with a lot of local filmmakers, which was a lot cheaper, and it gave them an opportunity. And from that, I got a local photographer doing I pitched for a local photographer that I knew. He lives outside of the UK, but spends a lot of time in London, to do our purpose photography. So these are the images that go across all our company. And I pitched it to the organization because I was concerned about the representation. I wanted to see good representation of people. And I want a local person, formerly an engineer who does photography commercially, wonderful guy called Bandele Zabiro. And I pitched the idea, I sold it to my company, why this person should get the commission to do it. So everybody that I brought on board, I always say, Cheryl, which is very important to me,
Mhm.
sometimes you got to leave your ego. It's never about just you. And I always say to people, open the door for others. You'll benefit from it eventually. Don't look at it like, I've got to do this because I'll get something back. It's about, I like to take the door off the hinges. I like to take the frame down and eventually break the whole wall. That is my purpose. And so other people can come. It's not about me. My expectation is that when I help you, you surpass me. If you are still in my position after I've given you a head start of where I started from, then, you know, I'm going to ask questions. But also, very importantly, I want you to give back.
Yeah.
And that is the principle that I live by. And that's something that I won't compromise. I've always done that. I did that at the BBC. I've done a lot of great projects in the BBC. I did something called Who Am I project, which was like a local take on the, you know, who do you think you are? But I wanted to give local people a chance. And so I went down to London, pitched it to BBC execs, like saying, I would like to give local people across the country a chance to have a who do you think you are, so they can trace back their ancestry. I got a considerable amount of money. They love the idea. And we delivered it. So what I'm saying to people, anything happens, just go with your idea, go with your gut, and wait till someone tells you no. And even when they tell you no, there's always a way around it.
Absolutely. I think Ian has summed it up here. Love the suggestion. I think being thrifty as an ERG lead brings some real creativity to the forefront. Business should absolutely support, but cost shouldn't be the deciding factor. Absolutely. Because I think, Mandisa, you know, in terms of what you've described there, from, you know, recording stuff on your iPhone, getting senior leaders to maybe like literally WhatsApp a video to you, right, of maybe the impact or how it's going or whatever, to, you know, then getting supplies into fundraising, to all of that. You've kind of shown a real, I guess, diversity of approach in terms of how you've approached resourcing, like the ideas and everything, right? Rather than, I go out to a lot of organizations where the ERGs, it's almost like the only thing I hear is we need more budget. We haven't got enough budget. And I understand that there are some things that you want resources for, but there is that thing about, well, show us that you can deliver with not very much, right? Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's not just about the budget. And as you said, Mandisa, a lot of what you've delivered that has had impact has been for free, right? Hardev said it. I love the concept of service to others, which is what this sounds like, and a concept I live by with men's well-being and my personal journey. Absolutely. It's about
you
service.
benefit, Hardev, you'll benefit from it in the end, because people also, I always think, when you're in an ERG, I know it's hard work, it's a hard slog, and sometimes it feels like it's a thankless task sometimes, because you give so much of your energy and you do have to manage burnout. But just think about, if you're an ERG leader or somebody working, think about how you can leverage from all the skills, everything that you've had, compile, document, and then pivot. We all have to do that. No one's going to say, oh, Mandisa, you're a wonderful person. Here's a job. I'm going to get it myself. It's all right. I don't need your help. I'm getting it myself. Thank you. It's all right. Pivot. Nothing. No one's going to save you in this world. No one, unfortunately, right? And we all should know that by now. No one, for most of us, there are the fortunate few who get all handheld and stuff, who are privileged. But when you're
get
not,
the pat on the back,
there's nothing wrong with working hard for things sometimes and going through a little bit of strife, because it makes you appreciate things more, and then you understand the journey, so that when you do come against obstacles, your immediate response is not to give up. Cheryl, in my life, I don't give up on anything. Even if even if it's not gonna be that great, I finish everything. And that's one thing my parents have taught me. There's nothing that I've not finished. I finish everything. So even when everybody walks away and says, oh, this is a waste of time, I'll be there till the end. It's all right. Whether you're here or not, I'm finishing it. It's that integrity for me. And if I say that I'm gonna do something, I'm absolutely gonna 100% do it.
Absolutely amazing. And there's going to be more to come on that, by the way. So Mandisa, you were talking about almost like the pivot, and you know, especially for anybody that's like coming towards the end of maybe your run as co-chair, and you're maybe thinking about, you know, what next in terms of like your own career and whatever. You know, watch this space, because coming up summer and afterwards, I know that it can be a really challenging time, you know, the whole performance review, the development conversation, where am I going, all of that. So we're going to be, we're going to really be leaning into that. Maybe I need to get Mandisa back, and we'll we'll talk about that whole, because there is that thing about how you strategically kind of network around your own, your own trajectory, right?
Yeah, I think that I've spent, I'll say probably one of my weaknesses was just helping so many people. I put a post on my LinkedIn today talking about sometimes you gotta like reserve energy for yourself. It's not selfish, it is requirement. You cannot help anybody if you're burnt out. And I think for me, giving so much to people, I always say if I had somebody like me in my life, oh my gosh, it would be amazing. I just want a Mandisa because the way I help and support people, because I've utilized my influence with the leaders that I know to say, look, you've got a job here. I know this person, she's wonderful. Maybe we should have a conversation. It's just a helping hand, because people like people who you recommend. Then if they're aimlessly, when they're recruiting, they'll think, oh, someone mentioned her. We'll just put her in the fold. Let's kind of review her along with everything as well. So it's utilizing for that. But for me, very much now, it's about pivoting, but also taking time to rest and reflect. I'm not thinking, right, I've done all this and now I need to do this. No, I've done a hell of a lot. I probably haven't taken stock on what I've delivered. So this is a period of reflection, compiling, and also taking care of myself, but also just kind of chilling out for a bit, because it was crazy. It was a crazy journey.
I can imagine. The one thing I would say, there's more to come on this, and you'll hear more of this. But the one thing I would say is, as ERG leads, for any of you that are watching, especially if you're going at it like Mandisa, right, and you're kind of like literally changing the world, and you have an exec sponsor for the network and the work that you're doing, which is great. I would say, make sure that you have got an exec sponsor for your career as well. Like, who's that person looking out for you and helping you kind of like, develop the skills, etc., that will take you to where you want to go. Because you can potentially do that at the same time. So that's maybe just the one thing I would leave you with. Yeah.
I would say a year before I knew, I knew in a year in advance that I was stepping down as chair. And so I thought of all the things that needed to happen before I left, like notifying the team so they were aware of it. They probably thought, oh, she's just popping, it didn't stay in it. No, this is going to happen. And I also kind of made sure on this journey towards the latter part, I got myself kind of a board of advisors. So a couple of mentors, sponsors, got myself a coach. I'm utilizing any resource I can now to have a team of people there to help me. And that's my gift and requirement for myself to help me get to the next level. So definitely do not be helping people and not be giving stuff for yourself. Have your own board of advisors.
Absolutely. I love it. Board of new t-shirt slogan, Cheryl. WWMD, what would Mandisa do? For sure. Mandisa, I feel like you're like the goat.
I'm crazy.
You're like the goat.
No, I don't know. I just think I'm crazy. I just think I'm a bit crazy.
I think what it is, Mandisa, you've got like a no fear. You've got like a no fear spirit. Like there's a spirit of no fear. Do you know what I mean? Like,
you know what it is? When my dad used to spend, I always think, why does dad always want to spend loads of time? I talk very fondly about my dad because I think in this society there is always assumption that a man doesn't play an impactful role in your life, just as your mother. I had wonderful parents, and my dad sadly passed away many years ago. But my dad is very instrumental to being the person I am. I look like him. I act like him in many ways, but he was very much part of the person that I am. And he always started to pick me and my brothers and sisters. I'm like, Dad, you don't have to do that. He goes, you're my kids. I'm not embarrassed. He'll park up right at the front of the school gates, right? But I remember the times he used to walk home from school when he said, let's walk, because that's where I got my walking from. My dad used to take us out for walks because we lived kind of near like the Waisley Hills. So it's like a country park. And he used to see like, he saw like a group of girls fighting and parents doing nothing. And I lived in like a very white area, and my dad was the only parent that running, stop it girls, and getting in. And anytime he'd see, and it's like with his family, anytime he saw any disharmony, no, we're sorting that out, and no, we're not going to be doing that. And I'm thinking, I used to think to my dad, why are you getting involved? Because we're not like that. He goes, I brought you here and I moved us out here so that you can cope with the world that you're going to live in. He goes, Mandisa, you can do anything you want, but when I'm not here or when I'm not around, I can't help you. So I need to build you up enough that you can cope, not just cope, but you can thrive in the environments that you're going to be in, because there's going to be people that are going to be attacking you left, right, and center. So I feel that my father and my mother were my first sponsors and the most important sponsors. So as a woman, especially as a Black woman, I have no issues about myself, how I look, how I love my culture. My parents are from Jamaica, all that kind of stuff. I love myself. But the most important thing my dad showed me is that to love myself doesn't mean I hate anybody else. To love myself is important to love others. And I do what I want, but living with integrity and my values is very important to me. And I'm very grateful. I had a father who taught me all that. And even though he passed away many years ago, I feel like that's more than what a lot of people get.
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, wow. Mandisa, honestly, let's just finish it with are there any lesson? I mean, there have been so many lessons, but, if you were, giving advice to any of your, your fellow ERG leaders that are in the wars, right? They're in the battle, and maybe they're thinking about creating a collaboration or an initiative like this. What advice would you give to them?
Think small. Think about what would impact people most and make everyone feel a part of it, because I think you are right. I've watched a lot of the stuff that you do, Cheryl, and I really love what you're doing, by the way, is that you talk about kind of not ostracizing the rest of the organization, like bring them along the journey. If you're just doing it to the people who are your members, that's all right, but how do you grow? Because the idea is that they're already on board. What about the most of the company? You want to get them on the journey, so think about how you can get them on the journey, make them feel good. And so that's what I thought of. How can I make everybody feel good? Even when I brought people in, who are the figures that would make people feel good? So think about that as well, but also be adventurous. You know what I mean? Don't block your own vision. Don't block your own kind of ideas. It may seem crazy, but be adventurous as well. Because I feel sometimes we just think, let's just do the same thing that everyone else has done. No, you don't have to do that. And then think about, well, who can I collaborate with? I wouldn't start with, I want to collaborate with this. What can we do? What is your ERG about? And then what are the great ideas? Then actually, who would also benefit from this? Like if I was doing something on Black History Month, I'm thinking, well, we've got a good network there around Islam. Let's do something around Black Islam. Let's work with the Women's Network, because we talk about women and the intersectionality. Let's talk about Black. There's so many things that you can do. Like literally, I think I could give people ideas of how they could create something innovative. Really, just have a couple of ideas, connect people together, and get senior leaders will want to kind of buy into it as well, because it'll gain trajectory. So
Exactly. Yeah, it definitely helps to get people on board. And you know what? One of the bits of feedback we had from this year's summit, which was literally like a couple of weeks ago, literally somebody said in the feedback that on the day they met somebody from a different company, different ERG, and they agreed a collaboration on the day that they took away and were going to work with. And I was like, that's incredible. Like that's part of what it's about. It is. It's about that connection. And
that's the one thing I wish I did. That's the one thing I hadn't done. I think I wanted to do the cross-company collaboration, but well.
Yeah. I mean, and even in the comment section, we've got several companies ERGs represented, even just in this comment section. So it's absolutely, the opportunities are there in terms of the collaborations. John, I'm assuming John is from JLR maybe, or one of your contacts, Mandisa, I think. Now I see why you didn't answer my call.
Oh, John Hobson. Oh, sorry, John's one of our DEI managers here, but John is let me give John his flowers for a second. John is amazing.
Okay.
He's always been, he's like an ally. Like he has, when you build relationships with somebody and somebody understands what you're trying to do, sometimes doing this kind of work, you ruffle a couple of feathers. So John's kind of been the person that's helped smooth things out for me. He said, right, come on, Mandisa, right? Yeah, I can see what you're trying to do, but see things from their side, and also being able to explain. So he's a great person for that, and you need somebody like that, because doing this works. It's
absolutely it's I always say, don't make enemies of your colleagues in HR and DI. Do your best to kind of work with, and they will absolutely help smooth things over, help you get the data, help you get the buy-in, help all of those things. Perfect. The last question, obviously you stepped down as co-chair. What legacy
There's only one
as co-chair? Chair. You've stepped down. My gosh, one chair. Wow, there's one chair. what legacy do you hope the project leaves? What legacy do you want this project to leave behind for Reach and JLR as a whole?
I think I just want it to be the beginning. I want people to do things that surpass it, personally.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
for the committee I left behind, I trust them. I think they're great people. One of the things I made
Yeah.
sure is that every committee member had a sponsor. I spent my Sundays ringing up leaders. You know, they're saying, "Yeah, I think you could be a sponsor for her. Really, look at this. Yes, you work. She does post it." I made sure everyone got sponsors, good sponsors, to help them in their career, because I know
Yeah.
how tough it is. So I took this, but to me,
Yeah.
I expect bigger and better things than what I've done. I have no issues with that, because
Amazing.
I get over my own self. I'm one person. There are
Yeah.
loads of people out there with better ideas. So if I saw somebody like me, my goodness, the ideas that I would have had for Reach would be so much different. So I hope that I'm
Yeah.
inspiring some people to do things. So yeah, I expect
For
great
sure.
things from them. Great things.
For sure. You're inspiring, you know, way beyond the walls even of your ERG and
Oh,
beyond JLR, for sure. Honestly.
yeah.
So we're gonna wrap things up because it's been an hour and John Hobson is
That's
trying to
it.
get hold of you. So
Oh no. I hope you didn't hear that call, because he called when I was there. I was like, what's he trying to call up for? I
the
just
thing is, you know,
stopped.
maybe you could do a junior. So obviously, I was saying that I was explaining Junior Beeman has gone from stepping down from one network almost like straight into leading another. Maybe John's
Yeah.
ringing you up to ask you.
Oh
to
God,
say
you
that
know what?
that-
Don't say that. Someone did mention that to me, but I think in fairness, I'm being honest, I feel like there are over 40,000 people that work in JLR. Give somebody else an opportunity. I don't need to take up all the space. Like, I'm already well known. I do this because I love it. I will continue to help people. I still manage.
Yeah.
Like, after this, I'm going to have a meeting with 100 Black colleagues who have got sponsored. We're going to be talking
Yeah.
about how the journey's going and stuff like that. I'm already doing stuff. I don't need to do it. So I always think
Yeah.
of creating a legacy, let other people do stuff.
Amazing. We're going to wrap it up there. Honestly, Mandisa, this was worth waiting the year.
I was so nervous, Cheryl. I didn't know whether I should do it or not. I was like, oh, I don't know. This is live.
It's just,
Thank
I
you.
always say to me, it's just like a Zoom. It's just like a Zoom call, but just there are a few
Yeah.
people in the chat, a few more people in the chat.
Yeah.
Mandisa, thank you so much
You're
for,
welcome.
you know, and you know, and on behalf of all of the JLR colleagues as well that have benefited from your leadership, man, over the last couple of years, thank you. And you know, on behalf of the ERG leads here and from the summit, from your talk, incredibly inspirational. And thank you to everybody that's joined us this morning.
Yeah.
I hope you have gotten some inspiration, some ideas. You know, if you're in the fight and you feel like you're in the trenches, I hope you've had some inspiration this morning from Mandisa. Thank you so much for joining us live. If you've been watching this on the replay, thank you for taking an hour out of your day to watch this conversation. Yeah, it's been amazing.
Thank you,
thank
Cheryl.
you, everyone.
Can I give you your flowers for a second?
Oh,
No, I'm going to give you your flowers. Finding out, when I found out, what, there's somebody who's coordinating ERGs together. Where does this, why didn't I know about it? Remember when I said, right, I'm getting on your course, right, what's going on? And then went to the summit. And I just think that what you're doing is much needed. Because I feel like you need somebody independent from where you're working at, who brings ERG leaders, people who work on ERGs together. It is much needed. And without having that, I think that helped me tremendously kind of in the latter part of my time at Reach. So I'm giving you flowers. Love the work that you're doing. Keep doing it, because as an ERG lead, I'm saying we need that. It's kind of refuge to have somebody who understands, but also independently we can talk to. That's out of our organization. So wonderful work, and thank you very much.
Thank you so much. This is the first time on LinkedIn Live I've had some flowers like that. Thank you so much, Mandisa. Thank you everyone for watching. Mandisa, don't disappear yet. We're gonna end the live and then we'll be in the green room. So